Your time is 1:20.09.
The D, Motor City and Motown are all names for Detroit City, with an incredible automotive, aviation and sporting history. The Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross and Charles Lindbergh, all synonymous with Detroit, USA, a fitting host of the Red Bull Air Race Series 2008. Nick Fellows and former Red Bull Air Race pilot Frank Versteeg in the commentary box. These are the World Series standings. After 2 rounds, we focus on round 3 today. Paul Bonham at the top of the table and unbeaten so far this season. And the aerial shot of the temporary runway where the world's best air race pilots are preparing for today's competition. Paul Bonham is the man to beat, but what do the others think of the man that has ruled the roost so far this season?
He's got a fast airplane, he's flying well, and he's got a good team. So he's got the 3 right things to win.
You got to be a good pilot if you're going to be in the top 5 out here. You can't make any mistakes, you know. So yeah, he gets some credit, but let me have a crack at that plane.
Paul's got a great airplane. There's no doubt about that. But you have to have a great pilot to fly.
His flying style fits perfectly to air race, to aerodynamic issues, to racing.
In this kind of form and with this kind of confidence, can anybody stop Paul Bonham in his quest to take the 2008 title?
Paul is Mr. Consistent. Not only is he fast, but he's just in there every single time. You need to be super clean and super aggressive every single run against him.
I'm sure that one of the other guys could catch him, but in his current form, wow, he's hot.
A very international racetrack on the right-hand side, Detroit on the left-hand side, Canada. 15 gates, 6.2 kilometers, fastest time so far from Bonham. They enter from the east side from the lakes. High speed through the chicane. This is the Canadian part. Back to the United States, gates number 3. The first entry of the Quadro with a 270-degree right turn. Later we will see the left turn. The exit of the Quadro, now gate number 6, positioned in Canada on the south side. And gate number 7 we call the border crossing, flag gate, to gate number 8, which is the half Cuban 8. Sensational G-forces which the pilots have to pull here to be as fast as possible. 9 to 10. Again on the south side of Detroit River. Now the other entry of the Quadro with a right knife edge and the left 270-degree turn. After gate number 12 it is to gate number 13 and then it is the finish through the chicane again, and that is the Detroit racetrack.
And a very technical racetrack it is indeed. But the big story here in Detroit, USA is the lack of stick time that the pilots have had on the course. The blustery and windy weather conditions caused cancellation of training run 3 and also cancellation of qualifying. So the rule book tells us we have a slightly different format for round 3 of the tour. 1 qualifying run, which will see the fastest 4, only the fastest 4, go through to the semi-finals. Now the losers of the semi-finals will battle it out for 3rd and 4th position, and of course that is 7 and 6 championship points. The 2 fastest from the semis battle it out for round 3 of the Red Bull Air Race World Series in Detroit, USA. This is the starting order, which is based on the training times now. Ivanov gets the action underway after having a nightmare on the first day here. Working our way through, the fastest man once again, it's the British pilot, Paul Bonham. Into the early stages of the qualifying round, and first up Nikolai Ivanov setting a good pace and possibly the best performance that we saw from the French pilot all week here in Detroit. Glendell, the rookie of the tour, who's just looking for clean rounds, unable to better the French pilot's time, but again, very respectable flying considering the lack of time on the track. Brand new plane for Alejandro McLean from Spain, the MXS, again a pilot who needs more time with his new plane. And Rachmanin still searching for his first World Championship points, picking up penalty points as we join the live action with the Americans first to fly. This is Michael Goulian, 11th and 5th in the first 2 rounds of the Tour, getting his season back on track in San Diego by taking those 5 championship points. He's desperate to appease the crowd here because he's very much the man from the east side of the USA and the local hero. 367, very fast indeed into the first chicane as he now heads for gate number 3. 13.03 is the target, and he stops the clock just 0.05 of a second off the pace as Michael Goulian pulls 7.7 Gs and that 270-degree turn to come through the quadro for the second time in gate 5. 6 is horizontal through the blue. And again, this is good flying from Goulian. He's right in touch here. Now, watch the inverted maneuver. Up he goes. 1.72 is a massive advantage, and Goulian could be heading for the top 4 here. Needs to hold it clean now through these last few gates. 53.77, look for green. It's still there for Goulian, quadro for the last time, and he's still over a second quicker than Nikolay Ivanov. This has got the American crowd absolutely on their feet. Now, just the chicane to bring his challenge to a close, and it looks like the USA will take the lead. Now, the target time, 1:17.95. He holds it clean. Oh, no, he gets the penalty in the final chicane and is not in the chase. Goulian goes second.
Number 99, Michael, 1 minute 20.4 seconds with a late penalty. You're in second place.
1:17.95 is the target. In comes the British pilot. Now, this was the gate that he clattered earlier this week, but clean through gate 2, which is the first chicane for the first time. Good flying again from Steve Jones, one of the pilots that's tipped to cause a surprise here and break into that final 4, and he has the green light for the first time of asking. 0.14 of a second quicker than Ivanov. 5 is the second time through the quadro. Now, again, clean flying will get another split as he heads for the half Cuban. And look at this advantage, 1.79 coming out of the inverted maneuver, the roll, the half roll out as he comes back into the course once again. Oh, and gate 8 is under investigation by the judges as well. Still has the green light, 1.3. Now let's hope the judges are a little kinder to this British pilot than they were to Nigel Lamb, who was clearly flying too low. Out of the quadro pulls. Now just needs to take in the chicane as we're on board with Steve Jones for the last time. Then he heads for the lights, and it's a much better performance from Steve Jones. It's the fastest time. There seems to be no penalty from the investigation, and he goes second. Steve Jones, a quarter of a second down on Ivanov, runner-up position.
Number 19, Steve, 1 minute 18.2 seconds, no penalties, second place.
Okay, thanks, Monty.
Yeah, the modifications definitely paid off for Steve Jones, and Lenny, his technician, told me that during test flights they found out that the modifications made the airplane 5 knots per hour faster, so that's a lot.
So Ivanov still sets the pace and leads. Kirby Chambliss preparing for his challenge, 3rd in San Diego, and Hannes Ark of Austria still to take to the sky and trying to qualify for the top 4.
Peter Bejonet from Hungary next to go. His last victory was in Monument Valley last season. He's currently lying 5th in this season's rankings with a 5th and 8th position in the first 2 stops on the tour. But this is the man that's been in the top 3 for the past 3 seasons, looking to get his season back on track here. 367, 370 kilometers per hour, top speed for Bejonet as he comes into the chicane for the first time. Heading for gate 3 now. Good start for Bejonet, and he's just 0.35 of a second off the pace. Coming out and then back into the quadro. 8.7 Gs he pulls. Gate 6 again, you put the plane horizontal. Knife edge through the red pylons. Look at the target time, 36.33. And is it the green light? Yes, it is. 1.02 seconds. Peter Bejonet flying exactly the same plane as Nicolas Ivanov, but a second quicker so far than the Frenchman. Just needs to stay penalty-free now, and we have a new leader. Last time through the quadro, gate 11 and 12, and now that advantage is just down to half a second, but still the right side of the clock for Peter Begenet. 2 horizontal gates, then the chicane, and it's all over. Here we come now. Last chicane. This is where you've got to stay concentrated. This is where Goulian threw it away. So far, so good, as Peter Begenet takes top position and takes it by over a second. Begenet is back.
Number 3, Peter, 1 minute, 16.86 seconds with no penalties. You're in first place by a second.
These are the standings with 4 pilots left to challenge. Begenet and Ivanov both flying the extra planes in first and second position. Jones and Goulian 3 and 4. McLean, Rachmanin, Dell, and last of all Nigel Lamb after disqualification. Let's take a look at the defending champion. His last victory was in Budapest in 2007, but it was 2007 where he took the title for the second time in his career. But for 2008, he's lying in a runner-up spot, just behind, 3 points behind Paul Bonhomme. Third in the season opener, runner-up to Bonhomme in San Diego, and he's looking for revenge here. 1:16.86 is the target time set by Peter Begenet. 366 kilometers into gate 2, the chicane. Oh, and a little high there for Mike Mangold. Well, so far so good, and the green light. 0.87 faster than Peter Begenet as he pulls 7.4 Gs through the quadro for the second time, left knife edge. And there is a judging on gate 2, and let's see if he's given a 3-second penalty for going in that little bit too high. Watch for the inverted maneuver now. Up he goes. 2.2 seconds. Well, he can almost afford a 3-second penalty the way Mike Mangold is flying right now. Really settling beautifully. This is superb flying. Surely quicker again. 53.27 is the target set by Begenet. Quadro for the last time, and he's building. Mike Mangold now 1.84 seconds. No penalty. We get the news on gate 2 for Mangold. So surely, if he can just keep it clean through the chicane for the last time, we have a new leader. And Mike Mangold throws the gauntlet down to Paul Bonhomme. The Americans are screaming on both the Canadian and the Detroit shoreline as Mangold goes into top position by over a second.
Number 1, Mike, 1 minute, 15.75 seconds with no penalties. You're in first place.
Thank you very much. Have a look what's happening here. You see, he is on the high side, and therefore he decides to way overbank, which is allowed as long as you stay in the track, in between the lines. And that's typical for the flying style of Mike Mangold. It's everything or nothing. And this time you see it, lovely.
Here comes the Austrian pilot, Hannes Ark. Ranked 3 after 2 competitions so far this season. He scored 14 points. Beat Mangold in Abu Dhabi. Let's see if he can do it again as we're on board with the Austrian through the chicane, gate 2. Gate 3 now. 12.51 is the first target time. Quadro for the first. Now pulls high, hard Gs. Just 0.06 of a second off the pace of Mike Mangold. Hannes Ark beat him in Abu Dhabi. Maybe he should wait for the semi-finals here today. But let's see how the Austrian goes. He's very happy with his plane. Even happier with his engineer, Kelly Brun. Now let's see. And he has the green light, 0.25 faster as he pulls the half Cuban and comes back into the Detroit River course once again. 9 Gs again, speed. Really impressive from this H540 of Hannes Ark. 51.43 as he goes into the quadro for the final time and still has the green light. And Hannes Ark is building. Now 0.89 of a second faster than the American. Heading home now through gate 13, then into the chicane. And Hannes Ark is right in control here. Beautiful flying from the Austrian. 1:15.75 will be bettered by Hannes Ark. And by how much? By 1.41 seconds. And Hannes Ark is looking for victory here today.
Number 28 Hannes, 1 minute 14.34 seconds, no penalties, first place.
The 2006 champion, and that was the last time that he took a win in Istanbul. Now currently lying at fourth in the 2008 standings. Got his season right back on track with a podium performance in San Diego, round 2 of the tour. Let's see if Kirby Chambliss can get into the chase here. Now 370 kilometers per hour again, maximum speed into the start of this course, not holding back at all. Look for the first split time going into the quadro, and Kirby Chambliss comes right back at the Austrian with a 0.84 of a second advantage. Heading for gate 6. Now, again, he's looking very confident indeed. The G-force as he pulls the half Cuban is 9.3 and 1.05 seconds faster than Hannes Ark. Heading into, a little low there, possibly on gate 10, but it's the helmet that is the measurement, remember. It is the helmet, but look at this from Kirby, 1.64. Gate 10 is under investigation. Now, just through the chicane, and Kirby Chambliss, the 2006 Red Bull Air Race World Champion. No penalty for Chambliss, so we have another new leader, fastest time surely, from the American pilot, as Kirby takes the lead and takes it by a massive margin, 1.83 seconds, and that is the new track record.
Number 4 Kirby, 1 minute 12.51 seconds with no penalties, you're in first place.
Fastest time ever for Detroit, and it's quite interesting to see how low he is. The rule is that in the gates the helmet is the reference point and you have to be between the blue line or the red line, and if you're between the gates it's not yet still defined as a hard rule, but I forecast in the future there will be stricter ruling on this kind of low flying. So let's say it's not illegal, but it's not the way you should do it.
All the other pilots watching very carefully, but this man watching closer than any other. Peter Begenet is still in the top 4, but there is one pilot left to challenge, and that's Paul Bonhomme.
Number 2 Paul, cleared into the track, smoke on.
So Paul Bonhomme, who has been the fastest here in the 2 training rounds so far this week, now looks to maintain that unbeaten record. He won round 1 in Abu Dhabi in great style, an emphatic victory in San Diego. Can the British ace make it 3 from 3? Kirby Chambliss of the USA sets a brilliant time at 1 minute 12.51 seconds. But can Mr. Ice Cool hold it together? Peter Begenet is in 4th position, watching closely than anybody else to see whether he has made the semi-finals. Can Paul Bonhomme continue this amazing start to the season? He's changed the engine on the plane. He's getting a little more horsepower from it. Coming in at 370 kilometers per hour, 230 mph into the first chicane. Smooth, clean, as we've seen throughout the season. There's no sign of nerves from the British pilot, but he's got work to do. 0.37 is not the fastest, but good enough to stay in the 4 pilots that go through to the semi-final. Heading into gate 6. And we'll get another split time from Bonhomme before he heads for the half Cuban. 31.79 is the target. And 0.98 off the pace. 2nd position so far for Paul Bonhomme. Still good enough to go through to the semi-finals. Now he's still got to take in the quadro for the final time. But Kirby Chambliss has put down a brilliant time here. And it doesn't look like Paul Bonhomme is going to beat it. It looks like the target now is just to finish in the top 4 and go through to those semis. Out of quadro, just the chicane to take in now. 18 World Championship points to his name so far this season. Is he opting on the side of caution, saving a little for the semi-finals? Chambliss has beaten Paul Bonhomme for the first time this season, and Bonhomme goes second, but qualifies for the semi-finals.
Now let's take a look at the four pilots that go forwards to the semi-finals, and it's an All-American Semi-1. Kirby Chambliss goes up against Mike Mangold. Paul Bonhomme goes up against Hannes Ark. But the first to take to the sky will be the two American pilots, and one has to favour Mike Mangold here. He's beaten Kirby Chambliss 5 times in his career to date when they've been in this position. This is the temporary runway, and these are the pilots preparing for the semi-finals. It's vital that if Mangold's to get the lead back from Paul Bonhomme, that he wins here today. But remember, Kirby Chambliss is finding confidence on the podium in San Diego. Let's take a closer look at those stats and look at these pilots, both very experienced. 9 victories to Mangold, 6 victories to Chambliss, and of course the 2007 champion on the left, the 2006 champion on the right. Let's see who comes out on top.
Number 1 Mike cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Smoke on, clear on the track, number 1 Mike.
There's the time, 1:15.75, that put him into these semi-finals in the Edge 540. The defending Red Bull Air Race World Series champion, Mike Mangold, coming in now. Can he knock out Kirby Chambliss, and can he go through to the final in his quest to take the lead back in the 2008 World Series standings? Speed will be high. 370 is what he'll expect to come in. 362 kilometers per hour for Mike Mangold. Gate 2's a chicane and comes in a little high. That could be a penalty, and it is a 3-second penalty, and it looks like Kirby Chambliss is on his way to the final. A nightmare in the second gate for Mike Mangold. 8.8 Gs for the first exit, and then re-entry into Quadro, gate 5. But Mangold has thrown it all away right at the beginning of his challenge. Now he's got to stay calm. Now he's got to stay cool. And Frank, just hope that Kirby makes mistakes as well.
Well, I'm definitely not hoping that, but this has been not very clever starting of Mike. And I must say, sorry, not clever. And what I mean is stupid.
Well, harsh words from the former Red Bull Air Race pilot himself, Frank Versteeg. But if anybody can draw the line, this man can, as now it becoms damage and limitation for Mike Mangold. Again, look at the G-force being put upon the body as his face is pulled back into the seat of that plane. 7.8 Gs. Now heading for gate 12. And into the chicane to bring his challenge to a close. This was where it all went wrong, right at the beginning of this performance, and this will be the big disappointment for Mike Mangold. He's done very well to try and lower the time as best he could. 1:18.16 seconds.
Number 1 Mike, proceed to hold 3.
Hold 3, number 1.
I must say, adrenaline is very good, but not if you take it in overdoses.
Right at the beginning of the challenge, the 3-second penalty. And that could leave the door wide open for Mike Mangold's compatriot, Kirby Chambliss.
Number 4 Kirby cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Number 4 Kirby gets the all clear, and Kirby Chambliss is currently ranked 4 in the season standings after 2 rounds. Set the track record in qualifying at 1:12.51 in his Edge 540 plane. Now, could this be the moment that Kirby Chambliss goes through to the final and for the first time in 5 attempts scalps Mike Mangold and takes a better championship point score than his compatriot? 1:18.16 is the time he has to beat. It's a straight knockout in the semi-finals. Already Kirby comes in with much more speed than Mike Mangold, and also no penalty in that first chicane. Look for the time as he comes into Quadro for the first time, and look at the advantage. 3.15 seconds faster. Now Kirby has just got to keep his flying style smooth, clean, and of course accurate.
Yeah, you must not forget it's not 3 seconds, it's 0.15 seconds because the penalty points have been included.
9 Gs, still the green light for Kirby Chambliss coming out of the half Cuban now. And he really is starting to get a feel for this course that is looking very positive indeed. Again, very low, but just with that helmet at the right height. Quadro for the last time, 3.9 seconds. Look at that heavy breathing from the American, but it looks to be enough now for Kirby. Just got to keep it clean through the last chicane into the finish gate now, and Chambliss books himself a spot in the final, and he's in the final for the first time this season. 118.16 is easily bettered, and Kirby goes through to the last two.
Number 1, Mike, 1 minute 18.16 seconds with a 3-second penalty. Number 4, Kirby, 1 minute 13.45 seconds, no penalties. Kirby, you win the heat.
Good job, Mike.
A real impressive victory of Kirby Chambliss. Every now and then he was very low, but his modifications paid. And even without the penalty point of Mike Mangold, Kirby would have beaten Mike Mangold. You see, faster in all sectors. Impressive flying from the American Chambliss. And this is the analysis, Mike Mangold versus Kirby Chambliss. And you see from the beginning, Chambliss is flying away from Mike Mangold. Bit more precise, and there was definitely a bit too much adrenaline in Mike Mangold's flying. And this gorgeous juice of adrenaline caused Mike Mangold to make this mistake and lost the race here.
That first turn was just really fast, and the airplane started to climb, and all you can do is try and get it back down. And yeah, I didn't get it down in time. I knew it.
Kirby pulled an impressive time of 13:45.
Yeah.
Were you impressed?
Yeah, he's flying well. Watch this run from the air. A real nice, smooth run. His airplane's going fast, so I hope he's on the top step.
Well, this huge crowd here on both sides of the American and Canadian shores, topping 750,000 as we move forward to semi-final number 2. Hannes Ark goes up against Paul Bonham. Paul Bonham beat Hannes Ark in Abu Dhabi round 1 of the tour. The British pilot is hot favourite to do it again.
Number 28, Hannes, cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Smoke on, sorry, Hannes.
So the youngest pilot is in the spotlight once again, and he needs to go considerably faster than 1 minute 14.34 seconds if he's to knock Bonham out of this semi-final.
Hannes Ark from Austria. It's a dream start to the season, and can it continue? Third in the championship, 14 points to his name after 2 rounds, and he's looking to score more here in Detroit. We're used to seeing him coming at full speed, and it's no exception in this semi-final. 370 kilometers into gate 2, the chicane, and he looks to have timed it just right. It's another very impressive start for this young Austrian pilot. On board now with Hannes Ark, and sets the target for Paul Bonham at the first split at 12, just over 12 seconds, I should say, and pulls 9 Gs coming in and out of that quadro. He's very calm. Again, this is excellent flying from Hannes Ark. Now the next target's time as he goes up to the half Cuban, 31.91, and again pulls 9 Gs. Half roll out, and he's on his way back home now. Must keep that concentration right to the end of the challenge, especially in this final chicane. This is another good performance. Quadro is gate 11 and 12, and again 8.7 Gs. Forces upon the body. Another fine performance from Hannes Ark. Will it be good enough? 1:14.34 is time in the qualifying. Will it be quicker? He seems to be getting faster and faster every time he gets on the course, and that's a sensation. 1:11.71. It's the new course record for Hannes Ark.
Number 2, Paul, cleared into the track. Smoke on.
Race director Drew Searle tells Paul Bonham to put the smoke on. 1:13.25 He's got to knock 1 3/4 seconds off that if he's to go into the final and make it 3 from 3. Here comes the undefeated British pilot so far this season into the first chicane. Very clean, very smooth as expected, but he also needs the speed here today. 12:07 is the first target time. 0.34, the right side of the clock for Paul Bonham, the first green light. Out of Quadro for the first time, heading for gate 6 now. We will see the second split as he heads for the half cube, and 31.91 is the target, and up, and it's still there. 0.89 as Paul Bonham pulls 9 Gs as he does that half roll out of the half cuban, and now he's on the way back home. Quadro and chicane is where he needs to keep it clean. 49.47 is the next target, and he's still on track, and he's building time. 1.05, again 9 Gs as he does that 270-degree turn in Quadro. Just needs to keep it clean through the chicane. We thought Hannes Ark had done enough, but this is the tour leader, and Paul Bonham takes a scalp from Hannes Ark and teaches the young Austrian a lesson. Takes it with the new track record at 1:10.01. Bonham goes to the final.
Gentlemen, 2 very fast times. 2.8 Hannes, 1 minute 11.71 seconds with no penalties. Number 2 Paul, 1 minute 10.01 seconds with no penalties. Paul, you win the heat.
Thank you very much. Thanks everybody. Thanks Hannes. Well done. I thought you'd won that for a minute, but thank you.
Well, Paul, that is just the basic 110. I thought 11 I did it, but congratulations.
Well done.
Well, this has been a phenomenal display of precision flying. This is the way we know Paul Bonham. Absolutely smooth handling the airplane. You see all the sector times faster than Hannes Ark. Sometimes in the sector even almost a second. And here you will see Bonham is going to overtake Hannes just before the Quadro. Then a very tight turn, almost the same radius for both pilots. Hannes again quicker, and then again the overtaking of Bonham.
I mean, I'm absolutely happy with my time, and if I can do that right now again, it should work out. We'll see. I mean, again against Mike, but I couldn't do better out there than I did, so I'm happy. And Paul is definitely he should win if he put it down that time.
And this is what it's all about, air racing, analyzing sector times between each pilot. So the laptop and the list are important.
So before Paul Bonham goes to the final, we have the 3rd and 4th position fly-off. Mike Mangold up against Hannes Ark, and troubles for Mangold in the early part of his challenge.
Yeah, and you see him turning a right knife edge, but it has to be a left knife edge. So the 3 points were very correct.
Disappointment for Mike Mangold, leaving the door wide open for Hannes Ark to claim his 2nd podium of the season, and another great performance. A little bit of controversy. Some thought that he went too low through that finish gate, but the camera tells the true story.
And here you see it looks like he definitely, his helmet is below the lines. But if you look at the other shot here, and therefore it's fantastic to have more camera angles, you see he went correct through the gate.
Back to the temporary runway, and we're now looking for the winner of round 3 of the Red Bull Air Race World Series. Can Kirby Chambliss deny Paul Bonham his 3rd consecutive victory here in Detroit? So we go through to the last round of the day. Will it be the American or will it be the British pilot? Paul Bonham will go 2nd in this last race of the day because he has set the track record at 1 minute 10.01. But Kirby Chambliss is getting faster and more confident with every time he takes to the sky. Both pilots up in the air, but Chambliss will go first. Let's take a look at the stats. 4-1 for Paul Bonham against Kirby Chambliss. Well, World Series ranking, of course, Bonham undefeated. Chambliss only down in 4th position. But you may remember, Chambliss on the podium in San Diego. This will be a cracker.
Paul Kirby cleared into the track. Smoke on.
One of the coolest and one of the most personable pilots on the tour. 1:12.51 is the fastest so far today for the American. He needs to go quicker.
In comes Kirby Chambliss. Watch for the speed. Very fast entry, 370 kilometers per hour. Gate 2 is the chicane. And nicely through that second gate. On board now with the American pilot, heading for gate 3. And again, a very, very confident, smooth start. Quadro sees the first split time, 11.82 seconds, 9.83 Gs pulled on that 270-degree turn. Exit of the Quadro now. And again, looking confident and smooth as he has done throughout the whole of today's race. He's been low on a few gates, but let's see if he's still got it right here now. Half Cuban, 9.2 Gs again, half roll out, and he's on his way back home. The American crowd cheering Kirby Chambliss now through each and every gate. The final time through Quadro, gate 11. Left knife edge, again the G's against the body really high, 9.1. Exit of Quadro now, heading into gate 13. Through now the chicane for the last time. Will this be the fastest time we've seen from Kirby Chambliss? He's got to put the pressure on Paul Bonhomme. Gate 15 will stop the clock, and in comes Kirby. It's a clean run, and 1:12.08 seconds. That is a good performance from Chambliss.
Number 4 Kirby, proceed to hold 3.
PB for Kirby Chambliss, which means personal best. A very good flying style, smoother than ever, and his modifications on the cowling, as you can see head on, worked out perfectly for Kirby.
Getting faster all the time, Kirby Chambliss, but remember, Paul Bonhomme still has the track record at 1:10.01.
Number 2 Paul, cleared into the track, smoke on.
Look at that track record set in the semi-finals. 1:10.01 seconds. And the target time, well, he's just got to be around about 1:12. So let's see if Paul Bonhomme can make it 3 from 3 and maintain that sensational unbeaten record in the 2008 World Series. Can he remain as cool and as calm as he did in Abu Dhabi, as he did in San Diego? This is Detroit, round 3. In comes the British ace. The new engine giving him a little bit of extra horsepower, paid dividends in the semis. Now into the chicane, first time, gate 2, out of 2, into gate 3, horizontal. 4, and then heads for the Quadro, and the time split 0.22 off the pace. Work to do for Paul Bonhomme as he pulls 9 Gs coming through Quadro for the second time. Now this could be a huge upset. Entering gate 8 for the half Cuban, we get the next split time, and the green light is not there. Now 0.26, and Paul Bonhomme has got a lot of work to do. Out of the half Cuban, now comes through. He's got to deal with the Quadro once again. 49.05 is the next time to watch. Red or green? Red is slower, green is quicker, and now 0.54 has Kirby Chambliss finally stopped Paul Bonhomme. The American crowd are going crazy, as is Frank Verstegen in the commentary box, because the British pilot has let it slip through his fingers through the chicane for the final time. Watch the clock very carefully. 1:12.08. Oh, he's missed it. Oh, second position for Paul Bonhomme. He loses round 3 by 0.15 of a second as the American celebrates.
And these times are incredibly close. Number 4 Kirby, 1:12.08 seconds with no penalties. Number 2 Paul, 1:12.23 seconds. Kirby, you are the winner of Red Bull Air Race Detroit 2008. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Good job, Paul. Well done, Kirby. Nicely flown.
Yeah, Bonhomme made a tactical little mistake between the start gate and the first chicane, which meant that he made an angle mistake at the wrong angle, and therefore he was flying a little bit more rough than we used from him. Flying rough means a lot aileron drag, and here you can see the sector times. 1, 2 and 3 sector is slower, only in sector number 4 he was a little bit faster.
And understandably so. Kirby Chambliss absolutely delighted with his first win of the season. Bonhomme beaten for the first time in 2008, and Hannes Ark on the podium for the second time on this season's tour. Nigel Lamb down in 12th position, but it's Chambliss that will be celebrating long into the night. And here is our winner back at the temporary runway, not since July 2006, as Kirby Chambliss won a Red Bull Air Race World Series event.
Better watch out, we're catching up. Mr. Mangold, nice run.
Well done, Mike.
Good. No, I did the wrong swing. I don't know if you saw it.
Did you?
I go into the quadro and I go, oops.
And I was talking about a tactical mistake between the start gate and the chicane, and straight away you can see that Bonhomme is behind Chambliss. And Chambliss is flying very smooth, so he has the advantage of the faster airplane. And what I just mentioned is he was slower in the first 3 sectors, but at the last one, here you can see that Bonhomme is almost overtaking Chambliss, but it was not enough, so he stayed runner-up. And this is new for you, analysis Bonhomme versus Bonhomme. You see almost exact the same lines, but more aggression in the red line than in the green one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what went on there, having put in a 110. I did see more wind on the water, but that's making excuses. But I just felt I was a little bit more aggressive in that run than the first one.
Has this given you more impetus and competition for the next race?
Yeah, no, I think it's good. It's healthy for the competition, and you know, I've got 1 point less than if I'd have won. So you know, it's not the end of the world.
I mean, I hope this is you know, leads to many more. I went out there and I just, you know, knowing to run against Paul, I mean, I'm just going to have to run flat out. I think I bettered my first time by just a fraction of a second. I don't know whether he went too conservative or what, but whatever it was, I'm glad for the win.
I'm absolutely happy. I mean, Paul did really an awesome run with the 110. And I just did my times down, and I'm happy with the third place. I think I deserve it.
The crowd absolutely delighted with the outcome of the third round of the Red Bull Air Race World Series, because for the first time this season, American climbed to the top of the podium on his home turf in his backyard. Kirby Chambliss hasn't won since 2006, but he is back to his winning ways and is the first pilot to defeat Paul Bonhomme this season. A fantastic performance from the American, and also Hannes Ark in third spot. Bonhomme still leads the World Series standings, but for the first time we see that he is not indestructible and he can be beaten, as all the pilots enjoy the champagne celebration. Confirmation of the series standings: 5 points the advantage for Paul Bonhomme, 3 pilots tying for runner-up position. That's Chambliss, Mangold and Ark. And if you've enjoyed today's coverage, there's a whole lot more on www.redbullairrace.com, where we take you backstage to the tour. We move from North America to Europe. Stockholm is the next round of the tour. From Nick Fellows and Frank Versteeg, it's goodbye for now.
There are many like you. This one is my rifle's my best friend. I must master it as I master my life. I must shoot straight up down my enemy. Without me, my rifle's useless. Without my rifle, I am useless. My rifle, my rifle, my rifle, my rifle.
Number 1, no wrong. Number 28, Hudson Nickel. Number 99, your time is 1:25.